Welcome to Africa's Vision Network. My name is Omar Ashaka, your guest host. The title of our program is A Shade Darker. My very, very special guests are Miss Tigist Ashaka and Miss Zora Ashaka. They are my two lovely daughters, and I'm very excited to have them on the program. Welcome, Tigist and Zora.
Thank you.
I know this may seem like deja vu, like we've done this before, which we actually did, but hopefully this time we will have a program that will be complete. At any rate, Tigist, we came up with the title, you came up with the title, A Shade Darker. Tell our audience what that means.
A Shade Darker is my short story title, and I came up with that because of the theme of the short story.
Okay. Zora, a shade darker could mean different things. It could mean a dark-skinned person versus a light-skinned person. Black versus white. Police and African Americans. What does a shade darker mean to you?
Well, shade darker to me means all the things that you just said, but mainly sometimes it can be the stages of depression, or sometimes it could mean your race. Like, you could have a parent, which basically in the story, you could have a parent that is light-skinned, and you could be a little bit a shade darker.
Okay. Tigist, I'm going to come back to you. And I know you guys have a little coughing going on, but I want you to maybe speak up a little louder too so we can get a clear audio. But Tigist, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing now, and just give the audience a little glimpse as to who Tigist Ashaka is.
I'm 18. I turned 18 in March, and I just finished high school on Friday the 17th.
Okay, what was the high school?
Suitland High School, and my graduation is on June, and I'm going to Hampton University to study political science and journalism.
Okay.
And I'm going to be leaving in August.
Okay, and this short film, you actually did that as a project in one of your classes. That's super. Tell the audience a little bit about that.
My project or my class?
Well, which class and how you were assigned that project.
My project was in TV production, and it's like our the end of the year project where we had to write a script and produce the whole thing, and yeah.
Okay, Zora, I know, tell the audience you're in middle school, but tell us a little bit about Zora Ashaka. What school you go to, and just share with us a little bit about yourself.
I go to Ashaka Academy.
And where is that located?
In Fort Washington, Maryland.
Okay.
And I play the saxophone, and I've been playing the saxophone for about 3 to 4 years. And I just went to a contest in Virginia, and we won first place for my cadet band at Ashaka Academy with 6th and 7th graders.
And down in Virginia, where was that, Williamsburg or?
Williamsburg, yes.
Okay. I think you're involved in some other activities at school, at least, for example, environmental club?
Yes, I was also in the environmental club. We stopped for the rest of the year, and we're going to be continuing next year, hopefully.
Okay. Tigist, a shade darker. Just what does that mean, and how did you come up with that short story?
I came up with the idea of Shade Darker because as a family we used to watch this movie, Imitation of Life. I don't remember when it was recorded. It was like 19-something. But that's actually one of my favorite movies. So I came up with the idea to just reverse the roles and make it as similar as possible, but not quite the same.
Now, of course, the audience is going to see the clip, but when you say reverse the roles, which roles?
I use the mother is white and the daughter is black.
And in the Imitation of Life,
Yeah, the mother is black and the daughter is white.
now, you mentioned, and I want to give a lot of credit to Mr. McGee. What's Mr. McGee's first name? Remember? Is it Richard McGee?
Yeah, Richard McGee.
Great gentleman running the TV production program. But he also, you said that he really appreciated the title, the topic. Why is that, do you know?
I think based on our conversation, I tried to talk to him about real world examples, and when I told him about this idea, he knew like a person, like my teacher who played the mother, her daughter is black, and he's seen like other students who has their mother's like white, and he's seen how they treat their mother because they're white or stuff like that. So he said that it was like a real thing, and he likes the idea. That's why.
Okay. Zora and Tigist, we're going to come back to your project, A Shade Darker. Zora, A Shade Darker could also be associated with a project that you worked on at your school.
Mm-hmm.
Let's share with the audience a little bit about that, because there was a degree of prejudice associated with the project that you worked on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, at Akakik Academy, we did an NHD project, National History Day, and basically my project was about the Nisis and the Isis, which the Nisis are Japanese Americans and the Isis are the Japanese people. And it was basically talking about how the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in America, which started World War II, and the Nisis were imprisoned because of their descendants, because they were descendants of the Isis.
What did you learn from that project in terms of the relationships with different Americans?
That really America can be a really unfair place over the smallest things, like really just because they were descendants of certain people, they were treated as if, because the so-called Isis were very against, they were not really enemies, they were basically enemies with America. And that didn't go, at first, the Nisis were fine in America. They were fine, they were normal, happy families until the war started. And then that's when they had to fight for their lives or stay in those little small camps, which were small.
Okay. I think the reason I want you to bring that up, because that was an experience where people were treated unfairly as well.
Because of their race.
Okay. So Tigist, talk about talk about the different roles in your short film. Who were the key characters?
It was my sister Zora who played the daughter, and then my teacher, one of the dance teachers, Suitland. She played the mother.
Okay.
Just those two.
And tell us about this teacher. Why did you select her to play the role of the mother?
Mr. McGee mentioned her to me because he said that her daughter is like black, and she will understand what I want to what I wanted to do with this video. She will understand how, if let's say her daughter did resent her, she would understand that,
Did this teacher have any reservation at all in playing the role when you approached her?
She was open-minded about it because Mr. McGee they were close.
Okay.
And he just asked.
And by the way, the audience will see her, and I thought she did a great role, played a great role. Zora, you played the daughter. Tell our audience, what was that like?
Basically, like she said, my sister said, we've seen it as a family, so I basically knew what she was really talking about. And I'm not a professional actor, but I kind of know how to change my emotions like that as being an actual actor. And all she had to do, since she's my sister, I kind of know what she already meant, how she wanted me to play the role. Yes, we had to do it a couple times, but we got it together.
Okay. So even though it was a role, the role of having a white mother, can you share with our audience, even though it was a role, were there any thoughts in your mind about that?
I mean, it was just really kind of a topic that people really don't talk about, even though like nobody really talks about it at all, even though it be like on the low, and a lot of people have parents that they dislike because of their race or what they look like. And I just had to put myself in that, in that role.
Now, you say what they look like, and I know we talked about this before. I think you were even talking about people with disabilities, right? There might be
Yeah.
some.
It might be kids that are embarrassed to talk about or talk about or show people who their parents are because of their race, or maybe because they're their foster parents or something like that.
And Tigist, I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. You actually presented this film in a competition at Catholic University in Washington, D.C. Tell our audience a little bit about what that was about and the outcome.
It was a competition. Every year my teacher tried to get us to go, and this year I just decided to go along with my other four friends on TV. And it's called AXO, and I associated with the National Negro Council.
NAACP.
Yeah, and it was a great experience because I didn't get to go last year, but the judges seemed like they liked my project, and I won first place.
Okay, what was that the goal?
Mm-hmm.
You won the goal.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and tell the audience what's next with that particular project.
All right.
Short film.
I'm gonna try to reshoot it and fix it up, and so we can go to Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the same time as the NAACP convention.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tigist and Zora, I'm gonna ask you first, Tigist. What do you think the students learn from your short film?
I want my audience to learn that race, or like Zora said, any like disability and stuff like that, I shouldn't hold you back from loving your family member, because you never know when their time is up.
And Zora, especially when you watch the clip, when you watch the film, if you had to speak for some of your other classmates, I know you're just in middle school, what do you think they would learn from watching it?
Some people wouldn't take it seriously because a lot of people don't think about others and they don't put themselves in that situation. I have a couple friends that parents are like that. Their parents might be white and they're black, or their parents might be black and they're white or light skinned. And a lot of my friends sometimes really don't talk about their parents. I mean, people that know, they might talk about it, but yeah. And I think they will learn that it's okay that your parents are a different race than you, and you just have to accept it sometimes. I mean, but some people might want to hide it, but it's not bad to talk to them and still love them just because of what other people think.
Okay. Now, there was a scene, Tigist and Zora, where you guys went to the graveyard, to the cemetery. Tigist, why did you actually decide to physically go to the cemetery? Why was that important for your film?
I wanted to make it. I want to make the short story as realistic as possible. I don't want to treat this as like any other project. So if I added the scene, like different scenes, I think that's one of the things that the judge liked about it. That I went out and shoot like different scenes, and that's what they like about it. So
Okay.
it was important.
And so once again, the audience will see the clip, but there was a segment where you were saying, it was like, I guess you got a call from somebody, but I thought you were saying, were you saying I hate my My mind, what were you saying?
Well, in the flashes, it was different time periods. When the lady called me, I went through a stage of depression. Well, when my aunt called me, I went through a stage of depression because I haven't realized how much time I didn't spend with her, and just now realizing how much she really meant to me. And then, well, my character. And also, in that other part where I said I hate her, it was flashbacks of when I was younger and I lived with her, and she wouldn't let me do certain things or something like that, and I would just be mad. Yeah.
Okay. And Tigist, the letter that you wrote for the script and the mother read, how long did it take you to write it, and what was your goal?
Most of throughout my short story, I wanted to show emotion, so it didn't take that long because just I knew what I wanted to say in the letter because I want to make it as emotional as possible. I want to show how the mother felt, like how hurt she was when the daughter didn't call or come by, and so it was kind of easy when just hey.
Okay. And I gotta admit, Imitation of Life is one of my favorite movies as well. Also in that movie, from what I recall, Imitation of Life, what was missing was the father. Also in your clip, there was no father. Did you think about including the father in your clip, or never cross your mind, or just what?
My original script, I had the daughter walk around somewhere and act like she was talking to herself and talking about how the father wasn't really around, but I just decided not to add that in there. But I did think about the father, but because he was black and I don't see a lot of those, like around my friends, like my friends' fathers are not really in the picture, and I just took that.
Well, and I think that's really where I was going, and I was curious as to your thinking as to why you didn't include the father. And it does sound like, if I heard you correctly, because you don't see a lot of your classmates and friends where the father's even in the picture.
Yeah.
Somehow, because of that, you didn't include him in it.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, this might be a nice time for me to add something. I'm going to share this with you. I would like to get your feedback. It's something that Dick Gregory said, the late activist, comedian activist. And someone was saying, he said in a very joking manner, but with a serious meaning, he said, a black woman is the only woman in the world who can cut a man's tires to the rim with a butter knife. He also said, the two strongest forces in the nation are the black church and the black woman. Now, I'm going to start with the youngest. I'm going to go with Zora. I'd like to get your feedback, and then I'm going to come to you, Tigist. What are your thoughts on that, Zora, what I just read?
Well, the first quote about the tires, I think he really means that you said cutting the father's tires, cutting somebody's tires.
Cutting the car tires to the rim, but
Yeah.
they're using a butter knife.
Yeah, because
And that's
black women,
a lot of work.
black women are strong and powerful women. And about the other quote, I was saying the church, because of, since we're Christians and we're strongly belief of God, God is the most powerful person that I know. So the church would be a black church. I mean, no offense, but the black church is the strongest because of what they believe and how really strong. And about the black woman, he said they just there because a lot of, like she said, a lot of my friends don't have their father in the picture, or they have a Debbie dad, like a father that just buys them or gives them money, child support. A Debbie dad? I think it's something like that.
Okay.
But he just gives money and doesn't come and visit his children at all. It just buys them whatever they want, but doesn't come to visit them. And I think a lot of people say, at the parent appreciation thing, a lot of people say you're the father and the mother.
The students were saying that that
their
one
mother,
parent who was the mother was both
the
mother
father and father, yeah.
Right.
And that's what's going on a lot.
Okay. Tigist.
Um, like she said, I think black women are really strong, and I believe that they just sit there and cut the tire with the butter knife. And I think I would like to refer to one of the songs. I think Childish Gambino, Summer, how
Oh yeah.
the women are always, black women are always the fixer of everybody's problem. And like for example, in the video, he has like Michelle Obama giving Kanye West a hug, which for most people it was kind of a problem because they were saying how black women are always solving their problem, and they never like receive any credits and stuff like that. So they were mad about that. But I do believe that we're really strong, and like we raising children by ourselves, and they doing a great job. Like most of my friends don't have a father figure, and the mothers are like strong, and they never show any weakness. And
Okay. Well, thank you. That was, I think, very powerful from both of you. Zora, we're going to talk about another challenge. I mentioned a shade darker could be related to police and African Americans. And I'm going to come to you, and then I'm going to go to Tigist. If I'm at a stoplight driving, and a police officer pulls up beside the car, you seem to become very emotional, even though the police officer is not stopping me. Talk to our audience about that, because there might be other young children who get that same emotional reaction, even though the police is just beside them in another car.
I mean, it's just what we see on the news or what we see in public, because I mean, I get emotional because I have flashbacks of what I've seen on the news, and I saw The Hate You Give, and over that one simple thing, he just picked up his brush and combed his hair, and then he got shot. And like over the simplest things, or even if you might look at them a certain way, they might react because that's what they know. And I feel sometimes it's certain cops that are scared, and certain cops that think they own everything just because they have a weapon. And then, yeah.
Do you feel the same way, or do you feel differently if it's a white male cop or police officer, white female police officer, black male police officer, or black female police officer? Do you feel the same? Do you feel more comfortable with one or the other, or you feel the same?
I mean, to be honest, now, well, when we interviewed last time, my answer was more as I would be comfortable with black female. But now, to be honest, I don't really know. All cops, I feel as if, not all cops, but I know there's good cops out there, because I have a lot of security guards at my school that are very helpful, and they're not just black. We have white ones too. But I just feel, as what I've seen, I mean, there might be a black cop trying to stop the white cop, but can't really do anything about it. And
Tigist,
yeah.
you're older, especially you're getting ready to go off to college. What are your emotions like when you're around police officers?
I haven't experienced any, police officers approach me. I mean, we have security guards, but they just there. But I know I had to be careful. I had to watch what I'm doing very closely, and try to follow the rules if and when they stop me and stuff like that.
Emotionally and psychologically, when you see someone has been shot, and I got to admit, lately there have been a number of women who have been shot by police officers. But when you hear that on the news or see it, do you just hear it and it goes in one ear and come out the other, or
no? Sometimes I wonder if that's gonna be me, like, because it seemed like they just shooting without any question, and yeah, I think about it.
Okay, I got to ask you now. You said sometimes you wonder if that would be you. Why would you say that?
I mean, I'm sure the women who've been shot, they didn't think that's gonna happen to them, but because they might stop me just because my light wasn't on, or I'm in the wrong neighborhood, or just because they want to, and without me explaining or trying to reach for my wallet and give them my ID.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I got a cue. Time is really moving on. I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. And it's kind of related to the maternal health of African American women and the very rapid increase of young babies dying early. I'm going to give you guys a chance to talk about our youth pastor or minister, Jason Payne, and his wife, Taylor Payne, unfortunately lost their baby who was stillborn at 7 months. Zora, you're close to Sister Payne, you're close to Minister Payne, and you say you want to be a doctor. And I know you're very young, but share with our audience your thoughts on that experience.
When I first heard the news, it was very sad because I was also going through something when you told us. So it was like, wow, it was very shocking. It was really sad because because I'm working a nursery and a children's ministry, I was very excited for another kid because they have two. So I was very excited for a baby girl and stuff like that. But I know we've seen a lot of articles or seen a lot of videos, or you just talking to us or somebody talking to us about how a lot of black females don't get the proper nursing or caring from the hospitals like other women do. So
Does that encourage you more to want to become a doctor, or?
it actually does, because it encouraged me to probably change what I want to do, because I feel when I probably get to high school, I don't know if it's still going to be happening, like if it's going to be changing and more black women will be in the hospital trying to help, our race. But if not, then I'll probably want to be a caretaker or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tigist,
I don't know what's going on.
you're very close to Minister Payne and Sister Taylor Payne. What was that experience like when you found out that they lost their baby?
At first, I didn't really know what to say, because we saw them like that Sunday, and I think he told us on Monday, and I was just like, wow. And yeah, I was kind of hurt, like this shouldn't be happening, because it seemed like they've been through a lot, but I know they're really strong as a family, and they're gonna get through this.
What I'm going to do right now, and I know time is moving on, but we may just have to adjust the program. But I'm going to read to the audience what the father said and the mother said when they lost their baby at 7 months. And from what I understand, they found out after going to a regular visit. But here's what the father said, Minister Jason Payne. He said, "To our dear Bethesda family, the death of a child is devastating and often referred to as the worst experience a parent can endure. A child's death causes a profound family crisis. It shatters core beliefs and assumptions about the world and the expectations about how life should unfold. The overwhelming suffering and intense emotions that flood the days, weeks, months, and years following the loss is called grief. However, in times like this, Taylor, and that's Minister Payne's wife, the mother, and I don't grieve as we have no hope. We don't grieve as if we are defeated. Why? because we know that our baby is in the arms of our Lord and Savior. And that's the hope we have. We will see her again, and we will hold her again. Until then, each day that passes will not be easy, but it will be worth it, and we will get through this together. What a privilege it is to have a church family like all of you. This wasn't just our baby. This was Bethesda Baptist Church baby. And we know she would have been loved so much. It's not over. This just another minor test for a major testimony. We love you all, and we will see you next Sunday. God bless you. I wanted to share this because this is a young man of God who's 23, and I know his wife is
21.
Okay, 21. And so I just wanted to share this with our audience. I'm going to get ready to wrap up this segment, but I want you all to know that I'm very proud of you as young African American young ladies and women of color. But you have a challenge when we think about all the different categories where women of color seem to take the lead, whether it's maternal mortality, cancer, so many things. So I want to ask you guys this, and I'll start with you, Tigist. How do you see yourself changing the world? I mean, what's your vision for making an impact on the world? I always share with you, I don't want you to be puppets on a string in our society. And let me just say this real quick, because again, I know time is it's probably past in terms of what I want to do, but sometimes you have to make adjustments. We look at our current president, President Donald Trump, and how he's on everybody's mind, and he's having such an impact on our world. Most of it is negative. So I always tell you, I don't want you to be puppets on a string. So how do you envision yourself making a contribution to America, being true to yourself, and just making a difference, and not being a puppet, and to make sure, to ensure your self-esteem, and your self-esteem is intact, because you know God didn't make no mistakes when he made you.
Yeah. At this moment, like I wanted to work with inmates.
Prison inmates?
Especially the ones that are like wrongfully accused and they were locked up for a very long time. I want to work with those people. And my other thing is like I want to be like a journalist on politics and stuff like that, and maybe get into politics also, because I know I want to make rules that will affect us, because I don't want people to just make rules for us that, you know, like never experience going hungry, or I know I'm not saying, but I want to even in the school system, I know it's a lot of people who are making rules and they never been in a classroom, and I want to do that kind of stuff.
Okay. What about you, Zora?
Like we said before, I want to be a doctor, and I'm not sure when I become a doctor or when I go to college. I don't know if Trump's still going to be, you know, around or something, but I know that I feel maybe I would try just to be a good, like a doctor with, I might change what I want to be for a doctor, but I know if I'm a black woman being a doctor, that I could probably make a stronger difference, and probably try to encourage other people to be a doctor, not to give up, because there's more white people in the room than other black people.
We're going to get ready to wrap this up, and but I have to ask you this too. And again, I'm changing up on you, because this might be a good time for me to share with our audience too that this has not been easy for you guys either. With my wife sharing your mother having a stroke, and there might be some other young people whose parent has had a stroke. Real quick, Zora, let us know. Let us know that what this has been like for you, and I want to make it a little short in terms of going to school and knowing Mom had a stroke. You want to share a few words.
I know my mom's a strong woman, just like we said, a strong black woman. She's really the strongest black woman I know, and very in love with God, and yeah.
Okay. Tigist, real quick.
Like she said, Mom is very strong. Like, even now, she be like walking around and cooking dinner, and I just want to say that at first it was kind of hard because she didn't make my graduation, but she about to make it one, yeah, middle school, and now she's gonna be there when I graduate high school, which is really cool, and I'm so happy she's getting better each day, and I do aspire to be like her.
Okay. All right, you can give a shout out to her, and then we're gonna wrap this up.
Hey, Mom.
Okay. Well, look.
Before we go,
Sure.
we would like to say we really appreciate all your wisdom and for always talking to us like we mature and always.
You shaped us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good.
You're certainly welcome in. I'm not supposed to be crying on the set.
No.
But thank you very much, Tigist and Zora, and I love you guys tremendously. And I want to thank our audience for watching this first part of the program, and we're going to come back in a few minutes and just share another small tribute to the loss of baby Payne, the stillborn daughter of Minister Chasen Payne and Taylor Payne. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Cheers, coming.
Thank you for staying with us. Now we're going to take a look at Tigist's short film, A Shade Darker. And then when we return, I will briefly have a few comments on maternal mortality and infant mortality. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure who this is. Oh, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a long time. So, what were you saying about my mother? What? My mother? Passing away? How did this happen? I'm sorry. I have to go. Makes no sense. I hate her. Oh, I hate her. Wish she was never my mama.
I'm just gonna leave you over here alone. So if you need me, I'm gonna be over there, okay?
I'm sorry I didn't get to visit you as much as I could. I'm sorry that I didn't. I'm just sorry. I can't believe she's gone. I wasn't a good daughter.
Mom. I got the letter that you wrote me. Let me read it to you. My dearest Mary,
you have been on my mind lately, and I have been trying to call you, but all I got was your voicemail. I don't know what happened to us, but I hope one day we come to an understanding. I know I didn't tell you how much I love you that often, but I hope you know that. I work hard to provide for you, but it seems like it was never enough for you. I don't want to come to the conclusion that you are ashamed of me because I am white. I know I taught you better than that, Mary. You are a smart girl and beautiful in and out. Don't let anybody tell you any different, my love. I know you have the kindest heart. You just lost your way, my child. Just come back to me. I am also writing to you to tell you that I have breast cancer. And the doctor says I would have a few days to live. You know how I am with doctors. I don't go see them until there's something wrong with me. And this time I think I am too late. I hope I see you one last time before, you know. I'm not ready to accept the fact that I am dying yet, Mary. I have so much stuff I have to say and do. I love you, Mary, and don't forget to come and see me. Love, your mother.
Hey, Mom, I just want you to know that I'm sorry for not being a good daughter. I love you, and I just hope that I'll see you soon.
A Shade Darker. That was a very interesting short film, produced and directed by Tigist Ashaka. I want to talk briefly about African American maternal mortality and infant mortality. That's something that I'm seeing in the news quite a bit these days. It seems as though women of color are on a very frequently basis dying from childbirth, and the babies are dying as well. I'm going to read something that I saw in a newspaper article that I'll let you make a decision, your own decision after I read it, but it's pretty powerful. And I'm just giving you a very brief reading because it's a pretty detailed article. But what I'm going to share with you perhaps will shed some light on just how serious this problem is. Excuse me. This person went on to say, while every other developed country has seen a decrease in maternal deaths in recent years, the United States of America has seen an increase. And the numbers are even more staggering for African American women. The article goes on to say, if you're an African American, your risk of dying in childbirth are 3 times to 4 times higher than if you're white. A Dr. Neil Shaw, assistant professor at Harvard Medical School, OBGYN, went on to say, or he told ABC News, excuse me, it's not tied to income, it's not tied to education, it's something about the lived experience of being African American. Now I want to repeat this because sometimes we think that these deaths are related to only women who are poor or uneducated women. But this doctor, Dr. Neil Shaw, he said, and again he's assistant professor at Harvard Medical School, he said, it's not tied to income. It's not tied to education. It's something about the lived experience of being African American. Now, there's a congresswoman by the name of Representative Alma Adams, and she's a Democrat from North Carolina. She said, black mothers are dying at alarming rates, and that the nation is truly in the midst of a national health crisis. She said she wants Congress to do something about it and created the caucus to provide legislative solutions. I wish I had time to go into more detail about the article, but my goal is just to kind of whet your appetite as a viewer, and maybe you will do more research and take an active role to try to curtail the serious problems of African American women dying during childbirth and of the young babies dying as well. Excuse me, that leads into a special tribute that I want to follow up on. In the first part of the show, we talked about our youth minister, Minister Chasen Payne and Taylor Payne, who lost their daughter, who they named Corrine Malia Payne. And I'm looking at the memorial service program. And typically we see a dash for the birth date and the death date. For little baby Payne, though, there was no dash. It's only the date, April 29th, 2019. I want to read something that the mother wrote to her baby daughter. Dear Corrine, I know we didn't get to meet physically, but I know you're always to be in my heart. I also know that we will meet again one day in your beautiful mansion. You will always be my baby girl. I know you'll be watching over us day and night. You are still the most beautiful girl in the world, and you are loved by many. You have a special and permanent place in my heart that no other person could ever take away. Holding you helped me physically and emotionally. Even though it was just your shell, it made me happy to see your pretty little hands and feet. You had a full head of hair, already at 28 weeks. Thanks to me, not your dad. To know that you are with the Lord Himself is the most encouraging and exciting thought that could ever cross my mind. I love you, Coco, always and forever. This is not a goodbye. It is a see you later. Love, your mother. Quickly, I will read a message from the dad, Minister Payne. He says, Corrine, I dreamed about you. I prayed for you. I named you I loved you. I almost got to hear you cry. I almost got to see your eyes. I almost got to squeeze your hands. And I almost imagined our first dance. I almost imagined your first day of school. I almost imagined you in the pool. I almost got to hear your first words. I almost imagined I'd see you walk. However, none of this will be. God wanted you there with him more than me. You were the closest thing to perfect. And if I had to lose you all over again, it would still be worth it. Love, Dad. I want to thank you for watching Africa's Vision Network. But I also hope that something you've heard, whether it's by way of a shade darker, or something you've heard about the serious problems with African American women dying during childbirth, and with babies, African American babies being stillborn. This program is dedicated to little baby Kareem Malia Payne, April 29th, 19. No dash. Thank you.